We all carry scars that no one else can see. Mistakes we replay at night. Words we wish we could take back. Choices that haunt us like shadows. And yet, here's the truth. In those very moments, you were doing the best you could with the awareness you had. But now, with the weight of hindsight, you judge yourself as if you should have known better. That inner battle is the heaviest chain of all, because it isn't tied to the present, but to a version of yourself that no longer exists. This is where forgiveness begins. Not in grand gestures or dramatic declarations, but in the quiet recognition that both you and the world are learning, stumbling, and rising again. The Stoics taught us that events themselves don't hurt us. It's our judgment of them that keeps us imprisoned. To keep punishing yourself for what has already passed is like demanding that a child solve equations they were never taught. Every mistake was not a failure. It was an experiment in living. And just as you wouldn't condemn someone forever for their ignorance, why do you keep condemning yourself? Think about how often we replay the same scene in our minds, as if watching a broken film reel. You tell yourself, if only I had done this differently, if only I had been stronger, wiser, calmer. But no matter how many times you rewind, the past will not change. The Stoics reminded us that what has happened is beyond our control, and that to fight against what no longer exists is to waste the life that is unfolding right now. It's like dragging a sack of heavy stones on your back. Each mistake, each regret, another rock you refuse to set down. The weight is not real anymore, and yet you carry it as if it were fresh. Forgiveness is not about rewriting the script of yesterday. It's about laying that burden down and recognizing that the one who stumbled is not the same person who stands here today. You are not your past. You are the one who learned from it. Imagine for a moment letting those stones fall. Imagine walking freely without the endless replay of what cannot be undone. That release is not weakness, it's clarity. It's seeing reality as it is, without the fog of guilt or resentment. The Stoics would say, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. And this is especially true when we chain ourselves to a version of life that has already ended. When we think about forgiveness, most of us imagine it as something we give to others. But before you can forgive the world, you have to start with yourself. Self-condemnation is like trying to heal a wound by stabbing it again and again. It only deepens the pain. The Stoics often spoke of acceptance, not as passive resignation, but as a way of seeing reality without distortion. To accept your past is not to celebrate your mistakes, but to recognize that they were stepping stones on the path that brought you here. Every stumble, every harsh word, every wrong turn, they were lessons disguised as failures. Now consider this. When someone hurts you, it's easy to call them cruel, bitter, or unjust. But have you ever stopped to wonder what pain lives behind their actions? A bitter person is not free. They are already trapped in their own suffering. They act not from clarity, but from wounds you may never see. To judge them instantly is simple. It costs you nothing. To understand them, however, requires effort, empathy, and strength. And this is where true wisdom lies. As the Stoics knew, anyone can react with anger or judgment, but to pause, to see the humanity beneath the behavior, that is rare. It doesn't mean excusing cruelty or inviting it back into your life. It means releasing the hatred that chains you to the same cycle of pain. There is a saying, hurt people, hurt people. Pain has a way of reproducing itself, moving from one person to another like a chain reaction. A harsh word spoken to you in anger may echo in your mind, and without realizing it, you might pass that same bitterness to someone else. And so resentment multiplies generation after generation until someone decides to break the cycle. That someone can be you. Forgiveness in this sense is not about excusing the past. It's about refusing to pass the poison forward. It's about saying, this ends here. This decision is not about the other person. It's about reclaiming your own freedom. The Stoics would say that true strength is not in conquering others, but in conquering yourself. Forgiveness is an inner victory. It means no longer allowing the past to dictate your present. It's not weakness, it's courage. Because anyone can hold on to anger, but it takes rare clarity to let go. When you forgive, you refuse to let someone else's wound become your own prison. You stand as the break in the chain, the point where pain no longer multiplies. That is where peace begins. Forgiveness doesn't always happen in public. More often, it unfolds silently, in the privacy of your own heart. You can forgive someone without ever speaking to them again. You can choose not to walk beside them and still release the fire of resentment that burns only you. Because here's the truth. Hatred doesn't punish the person who wronged you. It poisons the one who holds on to it. The Stoics understood this deeply. Resentment is self-inflicted suffering. It's like drinking poison and expecting the other to feel the pain. This is why forgiveness is not indulgence, nor is it naivety. It's clarity. To hold on to anger is to chain yourself to the very thing you long to be free from. By letting go, you release not only the other person, but yourself. And in that space of freedom, something powerful can happen. Sometimes, when you stop demanding that others change, they do. But even if they never change, you are no longer bound to their story. Your peace no longer depends on their behavior. That is the quiet strength of forgiveness in action. Most people believe intelligence is about cleverness, solving puzzles, winning arguments, mastering facts. But the highest form of intelligence is not found in the head alone. It is found in the heart that can imagine another's life as if it were its own. Empathy is the art of stepping into someone else's experience, of seeing the world through their eyes. Logic alone divides people into guilty or innocent, right or wrong, but empathy asks deeper questions. What pain led to this choice? What blindness shaped this action? This isn't weakness. It isn't excusing harm. It's seeing reality in its depth. No one wakes up one day and chooses bitterness, cruelty, or despair. They arrive there through causes, through wounds, through circumstances, through a web of influences stretching far behind them. The Stoics believed in tracing the chain of causes that shape life. Once you see the full chain, you no longer waste your energy hating the link. Instead, you begin to understand. That understanding dissolves the easy satisfaction of judgment, but in exchange, it brings freedom. Because when you see the roots of suffering, both in yourself and others, resentment loses its power. What once felt personal now becomes part of the human struggle we all share. At the deepest level, forgiveness is not even a moral duty. It's a recognition of unity. When you see clearly, you realize that the one who harmed you is not truly separate from you. Their suffering is your suffering in another form. Their confusion is another mask of the same life that flows through you. To hate them, then, is to hate a part of yourself. The Stoics often reminded us that we are all fragments of the same whole. Just as a hand would not condemn a finger for fumbling, why should we condemn another soul for stumbling? Their weakness is part of the same human fabric that includes our own. And once this becomes clear, forgiveness stops being something you try to do. It simply happens. Because how can you go on condemning a world that is not separate from you? How can you keep punishing yourself for a past self that no longer exists? All along, you have been stumbling toward awareness, just as everyone else is stumbling now. When you release the demand for perfection, both in yourself and in others, you begin to see the beauty in the clumsy dance of life. To forgive is not to erase what happened, but to loosen its grip on you. And in that release, you discover a freedom lighter than judgment and a peace deeper than resentment. So, forgive yourself. Forgive the world, not because it is noble or because someone told you to, but because it is the only way life can keep flowing. Resentment chains you to the past. Forgiveness sets you free for the present. Remember, every mistake was an experiment in being alive. Every wound a hidden teacher. Every stumble a step toward wisdom. The Stoics knew this well. True strength is not found in holding on, but in letting go. And now, the choice is in your hands. Will you continue to carry the heavy sack of stones, replaying what can never be changed? Or will you lay it down? Breathe deeply and step into the freedom that has always been waiting for you. Forgiveness is not about weakness. It's about courage. The courage to stop the cycle of pain. The courage to live fully in the only moment you ever truly have, this one. If this message resonated with you, take a moment now, breathe, reflect, and forgive. And if you found value here, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who might need this reminder today. Because sometimes, a single spark of wisdom is enough to change a life. And if you're ready for more, I invite you to watch the next video waiting for you. It will take this journey even deeper. Until then, stay strong, stay present, and remember, peace begins where resentment ends.